I have 8 random questions here. You get 3 rolls on the tower, and whatever I roll for you, that is where we start at least.
Okay.
What is something that you can't be on set without? Whether it's, your notes, a certain snack, something to do to pass the time in between scenes, you name it.
My original script that I've written everything down in, so not the sides, not the thing that they give you on the day, but what I've printed out myself and the notes that I have on my script. And a bagel.
You're a New Yorker, aren't you?
I am.
All right, so bagel is an appropriate answer. If anyone who is LA-based to me said that, I would judge them harshly. What is the movie that you have rewatched the most?
Maybe Romeo and Michelle's High School Reunion?
What a good choice.
A classic.
You, yourself, real you, are turned into a vampire. You need to tell one person in your life who will be there to go the distance for you. Who do you pick and why?
My husband. I mean, we said our vows. He better go the distance with me.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back for a new edition of Collider Ladies Night. I'm very excited to welcome Grace Gummer to the show because Let the Right One In the show is quite good. And I'll admit to you, I was skeptical because I love that original movie so much. There's a lot of pressure there. I'm very impressed, though. Very impressed.
Thank you. Thanks. I'm glad you like it.
What is the movie, the personal experience, the performance you saw, you name it, that first made you say to yourself, I have to be an actor and absolutely nothing else?
There are so many, but I remember sitting in a theater at the Dunbar Warehouse in London, and I saw Ruth Wilson in Anna Christie, and I just was like, uh-oh, I guess I gotta do this. She blew me away. And she's my contemporary, she's my age, so I really relate to her, and I think she's just such a beautiful actor. And yeah, on camera, I think for film, anything that Cate Blanchett has ever done made me question all my life decisions. I actually just recently saw Tar, and I loved it.
She is incredible in Tar. I was like breathless the entire time.
Me too. I was holding my breath because there's just no separation between the actor and the character. It's just it's an effortless, like, it's like, there she is. She's this person, and you can't distinguish either like when it happens or how it happens. It's an energetic feeling you get on a cellular level. That to me is what makes me want to do what I do.
When you want to jump into, I guess, the Hollywood system at the time, what did you think the best first step to take was? And ultimately, looking back, was that the best first step, or would you recommend aspiring actors try something different to get going?
That's a good question. I think it's so different for everybody. I think I am in a pretty unique, different situation because of, who my mom is. So it was always something I wasn't sure whether I wanted to do it, but once I started doing it, I couldn't deny it, and I loved it so much. So there was sort of nothing that was going to stop me. But it was really important for me to forge my own path for myself, and to make it mine, and to not be in reference to her constantly or in her shadow. It was essential for me to make my own name. But ironically, the first job I got was about it sort of thrust me into Hollywood, was this show, this little TeenNick show called Gigantic, where I played the daughter of a very famous person. But it was so not my life. Like, it was so different from how I grew up. So I was able to remove myself from it and try to really play a character. And it was a really good first job for me. I moved to LA. Uh, I got a car. I drove to work. I was on set every day on time. It was like boot camp. I was number one on the call sheet, so I had to really learn a lot really fast, really young. Um, it's not the job that I think that I would have seen myself doing necessarily, but it led me towards um, it. I learned a lot technically about how to be a working actor, and I think that the opportunity came up for me to go to drama school, and I applied and I started to get ready for the audition, and then every time I would think about doing it, I would get a job. So I would recommend. I think drama school is wonderful, and um, can be, you know, can work for a lot of people, and a lot of people love it. But um, I get my, you know, I get my school from working.
American Horror Story is unlike anything else out there. So, is there any particular, day on set or a scene of Freak Show where, like, you kind of stopped dead in your tracks and said to yourself, like, I can't believe we're doing this. How is this even going to work?
There were many days where I was like, I am a person to be loved, right? Like, of having to remind myself that I was like, okay, because it's so gnarly what you have to go through and what they put you through, and oh boy, what you have to, the places you have to go in your mind. I mean, it's deeply upsetting and dark, and just physically also takes it out of you. I mean, I had tattoo transfers all over my face, and a prosthetic on my head, and I requested to actually not work more than 2 days in a row, because taking off um, the tattoos with alcohol was so abrasive to my skin. It like I would get these like rashes. So, and yeah, I mean, it was the one time, people always are like, do you ever get scared shooting horror movies or any horror scenes? And usually always my answer is no, because it's all so fake and technical and you see everything going on. But there was there was definitely a moment on set once where I was like, I'm actually terrified.
Can you share what that moment was?
It was weird, because it was not even like we were in a real house or a real, energetically haunted place or something, but it was on a set when it was recreated to be this sort of disgusting, awful um, caravan, and there was blood everywhere and feathers everywhere, and I forget the woman's name, the actress who she has no legs, so it's only her torso and her body. She was on the floor, and she was in pain, and then the guy who plays my father comes in. Just the actor playing my father was so good and so convincing, and the lighting was so eerie and spooky, and the like, also the level of professionalism on those sets is uncanny. I mean, it's unlike any other set. It's very, very quiet, it's very organized, it's very dialed, everybody's very focused, so you really, really feel the silence when it's silent. And there's something about his face when he looked at me. He came in, and I could see myself as this woman that he had tattooed, and tore out or cut my tongue in half and shaved my head. And I brought myself there, and I was like, I'm really scared.
Of all the actors you've worked with over the years, whose process is most similar to yours, where the second you hit set, you were immediately in sync and it was like you were meant to be together? But then, on the other hand, what's an example of an actor who had a completely different approach to the work and challenged you to adapt and maybe adapt for the better?
Huh. Wow. God, these are questions that I like have to sit and think about. These are like very good questions.
Thank you. I'm glad you think they're good. And if you need to sit and think, we also have an editor who can cut down as much dead air as we would like.
That's amazing. um, oh God. Harley Chaikin and I became really close on Mr. Robot, and we ended up actually seeing the same acting coach sometimes. So we would have the same little techniques with each other. Like we would do these secret things with each other that would help us both get into character, and we felt like we literally had each other's backs. Um, she she actually taught me a lot um, about like discipline and studying your line, like studying the script, and she was very organized in that way. I'm not a very organized person. um Hilary Swank was someone I remember I was like, wow, how do you just show up and do it? How do you just like magically appear off a Peloton and like five peanut butter cookies, and you're just like, you look fucking amazing, and you're doing the best work of your life. Like, and we're out in the, high desert in New Mexico, and she was pretty inspiring and strong as hell.
I'm going to go back to something that I brought up at the very beginning of the conversation. So I'm curious for you, from your perspective, when you're signing on for a show like this, are you considering the extra layer of pressure that comes with a project that's a remake of an iconic film? Or are you in a situation where you have to kind of block all that out and just focus on the script that you are given?
I definitely have to do the latter. I have to block it out and focus on the script that I am given because it is so different. I mean, it aesthetically, tonally, the context of the world we were living in and what Andrew was wanting to recreate. That was important to me, to honor the movie, to see the movie. I didn't sit down with the movie and study it a million times or read the book or see the American version. I think that at some point you have to do your job in front of you and create something different, which is ultimately what we were doing. But I find it more difficult when I'm playing real people, like when I played Nora Ephron in Good Girls Revolt. I, especially someone that's so beloved and means so much to so many people and has for so many years. That feels like a lot of pressure. But you don't try and recreate that person's personality or mimic them or imitate their anything. It's just sort of uh, an essence, their essence that you sort of try to embody. And because you're never going to be the same, no one's the same person. But like, and this is also not the movie, like we're not making a remake of the Swedish movie. We're sort of paying homage to it and writing a love letter to it, but going in a whole different direction.
Had you ever considered how Claire might have handled this whole situation had her father told her that her brother survived, or maybe had her father told her brother was bit, actually?
I think that she still would have hated him because of what he had to do to keep him alive. I think that she still, just as a person in her life, doesn't like him. And it's just morally not aligned with anything, with him at all. I think she has a moral compass that is much, much sort of obviously better and stronger than his. But I think that, yeah, she probably would have made different decisions. But I don't think it would have changed the way she felt about her dad. I don't know. It's so what was so interesting about shooting this was like the chances it gave me to figure out how she was actually conflicted about, not conflicted, but no matter how much anyone like hates their parents or whatever, knowing that they're dying or seeing them die is complicated. It's hard. So it wasn't, what was so cool about this show is that there's so many moments that we're living in this gray area. It wasn't so black and white. It wasn't like, I hate you, I'm against everything you're doing. It was kind of like that, but it was also you know, at the heart and soul of this show is love. So it was fun to like play around with that.
I must let you go, but huge congratulations on
Thank
Let
you
the
so
Right
much.
One In. I cannot wait to see more, and hurry up and make more things because you need to come back on Collider Ladies Night so we can continue our collaborator question.
I have to make like a Collider Ladies Night journal now and really like write down all of my thoughts and feelings.